All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope everyone's having a great day. My name is Delano Collins. I'm the Chief Information and CISO here at In-Telecom. And today we're going to cut through some of the hype around AI and talk about the real opportunities, the hidden risk, and how your business can both protect itself and thrive in this new environment. I know we've got a few people joining, but we'll kind of take it slow to get started. So if you've been paying attention to the news, there's a ton of hype around AI. 78% of the global companies now have adopted AI in at least one of their business functions. And according to research, 71% of businesses regularly use generative AI, which is probably the most common AI that we're all familiar with right now. 83% of companies claim it's now a key part of their business strategy. We know it's a key part of ours here at Telecom. One of the disturbing trends that we see, and Gartner talks about this, by 2026, 75% of all employees will use some form of shadow AI. That means some form of AI that's not sanctioned by your company. And that's really concerning for me, for people who manage security and risk in organizations. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Part of the, I guess the hype around AI is how it's going to displace people in different areas. The UK Technology Secretary, Michelle Donnellan, hopefully I didn't butcher her name too bad, but said 46% of people in administrative tasks and 44% of people in legal professions would be replaced by AI soon. So let's try to cut through some of this and really look at um, the hype curve. So if you look at technology, they create what they call as a hype curve, and that's um, it's this curve that talks about a technology and where it is on innovation, the trough of disillusionment. Is it delivering all the hype of promises, and then the slope of enlightenment? What is it coming out of that disillusionment? We thought all these great things about what it can do, and then really is it delivering on the productivity and the promises that we thought? So again, there's all of these expectations for what AI can do. If you look on social media, apparently you can quit your job and let AI just rake in the thousands of dollars a month for you. Not quite there yet, but let's talk through some of the things that it can do. Uh, we know that AI can do a lot of things for us right now. It can accelerate productivity. A lot of companies use it to help themselves be more competitive. We see AI leverage in service companies. We see people using it to improve their user experience, specifically with faster customer service responses. If you are being marketed at all, most of the marketing and sales that you receive now is through AI. And research shows that companies that use it in this way are 6 to 10% more profitable than companies that are not using it. Some more examples. Um, excuse me. Some more examples of where AI can fit. Again, personal assistance. Not going to read through all of this, but there's a lot of different categories where AI is already making real headways into productivity. But the categorization of the areas where AI is already delivering on the promises is it automates repetitive work. It helps us with decisions. It helps us with learning and upskilling employees more quickly. And again, as I already mentioned, it helps with that customer service experience by being able to respond to customers faster than humans can in many service areas. A couple of real world examples. Again, I won't read all of this, but in healthcare, AI is already being used to create drug like uh, uh, antibiotic address antibiotic resistant strains of bacteria and create other drugs. In the environmental area, again, I'm a technology person, so when I see that Google is using AI to cut data center costs by 40%, that's an incredible cost savings and incredible use of AI. Again, in cybersecurity, something that people on our side of the fence are well aware of, we see that SOC tools leverage AI to analyze the vast amount of data that comes in. Um, if you use a SIM or SIEM, tomato, there are hundreds of thousands of logs that need to be parsed, and AI is great at that level of pattern recognition and spotting those types of threats. Again, banks are now using it to flag unusual transactions. Uh, it's being used in some cases to protect children who are online. So there's a lot of real world use cases already where AI is protecting us and helping make things better. But we really need to start to look at how AI can be misused and talk about some of those risks. So again, some of the common areas where we see people misuse AI and some of the problems are over reliance on AI or the bias of AI. The data leakage from public tools where maybe you didn't mean to copy your personal information or your company's financial data and you drop that into chat gpt. Well, now anyone who goes and queries that information can see your personal information or your company's financial information. The shadow adoption of AI. Again, your company leverages Copilot, but your employees are using the free version of ChatGPT. Deep fakes, phishing, AI threats. Again, this is something that is very concerning for people in the security industry because we're seeing more phishing emails get through, more spoofing emails get through. Just this week, they were talking about how the average time to create a vulnerability, a threat to get past a software vulnerability used to be 192 days. Now there are AI-based tools that can shorten that 192 days to 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So if there's a vulnerability in a software, AI can now assess that vulnerability, create an attack to get around that software. And then productivity theater. What is productivity theater? That is when someone's not really doing their job. They're just going out and they're asking AI to do that for them. You might see this in journalism where people just, instead of writing the article, they phone it in, they just ask AI to write the article, and then they don't check it, they don't fact check it, and they just copy and paste. So a couple examples that we've seen. Amazon had a hiring algorithm that was discontinued after it learned that it was penalizing female candidates because the AI perceived that there was a historical tendency to hire men. And so when they use this Workday AI based product, it would screen out women. So again, there's still a federal lawsuit going on about this bias. Again, productivity theater. Say that 3 times really fast. But like the Chicago Sun Times and the Philadelphia Inquirer have both taken reputational hits as early as May of this year when they had writers write articles on books that were on the bestseller list that didn't exist. The name of one of those books was The Heat Index, Your Guide to the Best of Summer, and that book actually did not exist. And they found out Marco Bascaglia, the author of this article, basically just admitted that he used AI, had AI write this article on this bestseller reading list, and AI just made up these imaginary books. And then as far as like data leaks, you've got the DeepSeek from 2025, where a company exposed over 1 million sensitive logs, including chat history, secret keys, through a publicly accessible database, and then you've got AI training data sets that have been used, uh, and that exposing millions of people's credit card data, driver's licenses, passports, all of that stuff was scraped through internet searches, and then the SalesLoft AI chatbot breach, which is currently going on now, uh, experienced a mass theft of authentication tokens. And then the hackers basically stole valid tokens for hundreds of online services customers that integrate with SalesLoft, including Slack, Google Workspace, Amazon, uh, Microsoft Azure, OpenAI, through the vulnerabilities in the SalesLoft AI chatbot. So a lot of issues that have come through AI. So let's talk about um, again, why is this misuse a problem for companies? Well, obviously compliance. If you've got to protect your user information, you're going to violate and you're in a compliance area, you're going to violate your HIPAA requirements or your SOC 2 requirements, or if it's GDPR, you've got to protect uh, you know EU client information, you're going to be in violation of that, or CMMC. All of those require you to protect data of some sort. And then if you have data security or confidentiality issues, like you want to protect your financial data or your secret sauce, your intellectual property, you've got to make sure that it's not getting put into an AI engine that can be exposed or has compromised, or it can be queried through the API, or it's got a publicly accessible database backend. Uh, but either way, when these breaches happen, you experience reputational damage. I mean, we talked about real companies that everyone knows the name of: Microsoft, Google, Slack. Everybody knows who these people are. They take a reputational hit when these things happen. And ultimately, whether it's compliance or your customers, they don't care if it was AI that created the problem. They're holding you, the company, responsible for these issues. So what can we do? A common term you hear in AI is, let's set up guardrails. But what do we really mean when we talk about setting up guardrails? Well, it starts with a policy, an internal policy, a responsible policy. This says, here's what we're going to do. Here's the type of data that we're going to use with AI. Here's the type of data that we will not use with AI. Here is how we're going to handle AI. Here's the AI tools that we allow. Here's the AI tools that we don't allow. And these allow you to set controls for policy and set real ramifications for employees who decide not to follow these rules. So you have a responsible AI policy internally. Then you've got to go through tool and vendor vetting. You've got to start asking your vendors questions about the tools. I know there's this mad rush to adopt AI solutions. ChatGPT reached the highest number of users of any technology in the history of technology earlier this year. The rush to AI is faster than any other cloud or any other technology adoption that we've seen in the history of technology. But we've got to slow down. We've got to ask questions. We've got to make sure that we have a good list of a checklist of, like, what are we looking for? What are the security protocols that we've got to have in place? Because as we've seen with the SalesLoft breach that's currently going on right now, if you connect a AI platform to your tools, it could get breached. It could propagate problems into your network that have mass ramifications. Then there's training for your users. How should they use it? What should they be use? What data sets should they use? How should they not be using the AI? Uh, what we've seen with users already is people will ask very personal questions to AI. They treat it like, in some cases, their counselor, their financial advisor, their spiritual guru. We need to have boundaries for how people treat AI in the company because we want to make sure that we're training AI with the right data sets. We're limiting how people use AI so they're not putting information in that they wouldn't want shared with other people in the company. Fourth, we're monitoring AI. Again, what does this mean? There's a lot to this, and there's a lot to unpack with how we monitor AI. But we've got to have tools like SIM or SIEM in place to log the AI usage so that we see when people are using, we see when other people are querying the APIs. And if someone starts attacking an API or trying to pull data out, we see that. We've got to make sure that we have those security tools that are monitoring the tool. And then audit. We have to constantly audit. We need to be checking behind ourselves. Are our users using it correctly? Are our tools doing what they should? And are people responding to the alerts that come in? Are we checking behind with our vendors? Is anything changed with the platform? There's a constant cycle of like looking behind ourselves. Did we miss anything? Did anything change? Is something not working that we assume is working? A great framework for this is NIST. And so while I won't go too deep into this, I just want to take a moment and point that NIST does have an AI risk management framework for people who are responsible for protecting their organizations, managing risk around AI. This is a great opportunity for them to stop, take a look at this, really dive into this. I've spent much of my career studying, looking at researching this. It's always valuable and it's always scalable. Doesn't matter if you're small, large, what industry, what vertical, what type of data sets. NIST has something for you, and it can be scaled up or down to fit your particular scenario. So we're going to offer a few free resources I think can help you get started on your journey. Again, we're going to have these on our website, but we have a template for an acceptable use policy that I think can help. We have an AI tool approval request form. I think it's important for you to start to have the conversation early in your organization to understand what tools do people want to use? What are you going to use? Make sure, going back to CIS controls, having a full inventory list of like what AI tools are in use, what tools are people requesting. Make sure you're adopting the ones that people need, and then you're setting those controls around that. And then third, that AI risk classification cheat sheet that's going to help you identify those risks associated with those AI tools. And then the second piece is basically an SMB AI risk and compliance self-assessment. Again, just another sheet to help you assess some risk as a SMB, a small business. Something quick and easy to help you ask some questions. Again, we want to help you grow. We know that the companies who are adopting AI are growing faster than the ones who are not. It is a very powerful tool. With that power comes great responsibility. You have to manage your risk. If you need help with managing your risk around that, if you have questions, if you need help with adopting this technology or any technology, we certainly invite you to visit our website. We're here to answer any questions, help you with your growth, help you implement these things safely and securely in a way that's going to be scalable for your organization. Again, our website link is down here below, www.in-telecom.com. More than happy to help you with any of your questions. Please feel free to reach out to us, visit our website. Again, I want to thank everybody for taking the time out of your busy day to attend our webinar today. I certainly appreciate your time and the opportunity to talk about this, which is to me a very important subject. Thank you so much. If there's no more questions, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap things up a few minutes early.